All right. Good morning, Hickory Sunrise.
Good morning.
The pledge, if you will. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I apologize, I'm not up to speed. Richard.
Tucker. Me. Tucker. Those powerheads. Good morning, dear Heavenly Father. It's good to be here this morning around these tables to talk about the things that we do here to help other people. Especially, dear Lord, as we come up with Feed the Needy that's coming up, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. We're all enjoying just doing just that, and that's serving others. So thank you, dear Lord, for giving us a heart to do just that. Be with us, dear Lord, as we continue to do your will. For in Jesus we pray. Amen.
Yes, indeed.
Good morning, Rotarians.
Good morning, Mr. Honeycutt. How are you, Mr. Honeycutt?
Morning, Mr. Honeycutt.
Mr. Honeycutt, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Morning, Mr. Honeycutt.
Glenn, I need $1 when you okay. All right. First of all,
Thank you, Jenny, for the food.
okay, Bob Steiger has a guest. Would you introduce your guest, please, sir?
My pleasure to introduce Russ Vickers with NC Works, which was known as the Employment Security Commission.
Good, good. All right, Jenny, that's $1. $1. You're able to see, hug with someone.
Hey, I'll pay the $1.
I'll pay that.
You're going to have to do that more often. Fundraiser.
Okay. All right, several items of business, quickly going through this. Ron Leach is not here, so we'll have to worry about the perimeter. I'm assuming everything's okay. All right, Roger and Ryan, please stand.
They have names.
Okay, now, are you members? And they have their badges.
Yeah.
One issue has not developed yet. Their name's not on the.
Say it ain't so.
That's bad.
So I'm not sure, but if I remember, Bob, I think you put that on the back.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Next week, we got to have that done. Now, here's the other issue. I don't know if you're aware. I need to clarify this. Your sponsor is? Your sponsor?
Steve Hunt.
Steve Hunt. All right.
The bus just backed up.
Now, if you get in trouble in the club, and maybe if you're fined for some reason, you know, we don't know if that'll happen, but if you are, then you can ask your sponsor to look after you. There's a period of time he has adopted you. So keep that in mind, if you will.
Try to use it.
So come late, come people.
All right. Now, here's Bob. Okay.
Yeah, I can get it with
According to how much money you played this year. Yes.
I'll do it. All right. Jake's Food. Any questions about Jake's Food this morning?
Jake's Food, we got some food. Everybody give their $1, I'm assuming. Jake's Food's coming up.
Okay,
This
good deal.
Next Saturday.
Now, there's a couple issues right here I need to cover. Last week, I passed pictures around, if you saw this, dealing with Christmas. And two of our Rotarians were in some of the God-awfulest decoration you've seen. And I kept thinking, you know, this could be serious. It could be some underlying problems with this. So I did take it on myself, and I sent an email to a neurologist, Robert Hickory. Okay, well, I will read it to you, what Robert has said. First of all, the pictures were included in the email, okay? I said, hello, Robert. I thought you might enjoy seeing how Richard and Bob acted over Christmas. Rather embarrassing, exclamation points. You might need to file this for future reference. Just reported the news. Wait. All right, I got a response back. Oh, gosh. Wayne, this is very disturbing. The role-playing stuff is definitely a sign of acute medical, psychiatric intervention is needed. okay? I am fearful that the blow-up dolls will be next. We have very good medication for this condition. And it says, I pray for Rotary, Robert, okay? And I sent this back to him. Thank you for the concerns for Rotary. I definitely feel some type of intervention is needed for both of them. Let's hope blow-up dolls are not the next stage in this serious progression. Quite serious. And then we had one of the members write a little note back and say, it's not true. No, don't listen to it. Okay. Now, this is just news, so observations will need to take place. But I thought it was rather embarrassing for a neurologist to write this.
So do I.
Yeah, I think it's
I
serious.
concur.
All right.
And that's why we don't get members.
That's it. I think it is.
Women, that's why I'm it.
Right.
All right. Do you feel guilty? Either one of you feel very
Dan
guilty?
says don't say a word.
Dan said you had great interest.
You don't have to say that.
I want to see the picture.
All right.
Okay,
Oh,
Mr. Picture.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You look like
All right.
Katie
Katie will
with
make a
English
decision. All right.
on smoking the van.
I need to follow. Steve Hunt,
Ooh.
I need you up front.
Yeah.
Boy, yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's it.
Yeah.
Glenn, get up there.
Glenn, I need you up front.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I'm armed.
This is
Armed.
serious. This is serious. All right.
Show Russ.
Even more serious. Kenny,
Sir.
you've been out. I'm glad to have you back. I need you here. Okay. This calendar for 2019, I don't know if any of you seen it from Hickory Daily Record, and it has different pictures in here, and surely, you know, I think the month of April came up for some reason for me, and I have to find out, now, you three will have to tell me, is this service above self? Now, this is the picture.
Service up.
That's service upset. That's self-service.
That's it.
So that's the same little guy wearing the elf costume?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's it.
This is Little English.
No, yeah.
All right, so would you agree this is not service above self?
I totally agree.
All right, now, if you haven't seen this, this is a calendar. And every month they take some of the articles in Hickory Record, the car displays and all this. Richard, they put him in the trunk of the car. Here he is with his picture. So,
What
It's
month
not-
was that?
April.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
I think from here on out for the rest of the year, he should be known as Mr. April.
All right, now, I'm gonna have to assess a fine for this. I mean, this is serious business.
Number 5.
What do you suggest? You know, I don't want to take all the responsibility. This is a team effort. Do you have a suggestion for this fine? I mean, this is a centerfold for the month of April.
For 30 days, we gotta get our money's worth.
Yeah, I think 5 is minimum.
Okay.
$1.25 a month.
All right, I'll agree, $5 is a starting, Richard, if you want to contribute anything else. But I'm passing this around, everyone to see this. I mean, how many? All right, you gotta pass it around to see. Gentlemen, thank you, I
That's a
appreciate that
$7
input. Thank you.
That's a $7 picture. No, that's a $7 picture.
Hey, Wayne,
Yes, sir.
Lynn may need to be fined. He's over there giving him advice.
It's not a responsive page, right?
Hey, Gavin just got here.
All right, here.
Ooh.
Gavin, where you going?
I just, it was rude.
Mr. President, how are you this morning? Yeah,
Collect
I know
that.
I know you're adjusting from your,
Yes.
and the time zone and all of that, but still,
Please must be waiting.
I need some money from you.
Calendar guy.
Go ahead.
Struggle. I'll give you a
Next time
chance.
you have you on the boat.
Got it. Glad to have you back.
The boat.
All right,
Oh, yeah, let's stay on.
President Donald, you missed this, but we had a calendar coming around,
Yeah.
and we had 3 Rotarians to look at the picture, and they determined that Richard Tucker's you know, not servicing himself.
Oh.
So he had to pay $5 fine.
Thank you. You know, if I'm giving money to Jake, I like it coming back.
You'd like coming back? Well, he went back $5 out of it.
I appreciate you, sir.
Yes, sir.
I couldn't
Good
do it
deal.
without you.
All right. President
Richard,
Donald, it's all
It's
yours.
service to us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You did that.
That's Mr. A.
Let's introduce ourselves to the new Rotarian down on in.
I'm with Mike, I'm his visitor.
You are? It's nice seeing you, sir. What's your name? Stand up and tell us about yourself.
I might tell something, but it ain't gonna be about me.
Tell us about Seth.
Okay, he, last week, a week ago Monday, he went and had another endoscopy and first endoscopy, and then he had a colonoscopy. Everything seems to be holding its own. It's just, the hardest part for me is having a child that you know there's nothing you can take away and get the things that's going on with him that, you know, I'd rather have myself. But he goes for infusions every 4 weeks. It's a 4.5-hour process. And it's just, but everything, they said it will get better. I mean, not better, but it'll get easier as it goes, and the infusions will go further and further apart. They just have to figure out what he has to have. But we find out the 30th, the results of the endoscopy procedures
That one.
from Monday, and but she came out and she said, you know, he's doing good. He's doing really good. He doesn't have any issues really with the stomach issues. He still has trouble with where he had that cyst.
Is that healing?
It is, but it's just a long process.
You know that there was some talk, hoping that Seth would be our write-up candidate. Should we take it off the table right now?
Because he'll be doing fine for 2-3 weeks, and then he has a flare up, and that's just, I mean, there's no way you could determine when or anything else. And when he has them flare ups, he's down.
Okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you back. We hate to see you gone.
See, somebody contacted me, I think it was yesterday,
Yeah.
about being here this morning.
Uh-huh.
And they assured me that they would be here before me, or at least be on time. I can't remember, who called me?
Home time?
Yeah. I can't remember who called me.
Don't make eye contact, just don't make eye contact.
Any unfinished business.
Home time? Kids, home time?
I stopped talking other than the conversation down here. Yes, sir.
I need to impeach him.
Yes, sir.
Do I have the floor now?
Yes, sir. You have the floor. Stop interrupting. We'll put you out. Go ahead. Thank you.
Just a reminder that not this Saturday, but next Saturday, 9 o'clock at Christ Lutheran Church is when we feed the needy. And everyone, please bring at least a gallon or a crock pot of soup, any kind of soup, doesn't matter. And then we'll have the meats and stuff there to make the sandwiches and have the chips and the desserts. And I picked up the socks yesterday that we're going to give to the men and the women and the children. All that will be sort of displayed. Part of our church is helping with that. The youth is helping with those. Glenn and I will probably end up going to get the canned goods that we will put in the bags for them to take home with them. So it's underway, those kind of things. So again, your help is certainly needed at 9 o'clock on Saturday. And then, of course, the cleanup is another important part of it, too. So, please do what you can, bring what you can, see what happens.
I piggyback. Not only the food and the warmth in the building is important, but the fellowship we represent. If we can mingle and make friends, we'll find more people with specific needs that we can address either individually or as a group. And that may be worth as much to them as the day's food.
We also have some help from University Christian High School.
Mhm.
Their basketball team is gonna be helping us with part of that too, as a community service, so. We've got some people helping, our youth is gonna help some too, and then we've got some adults in our church that's gonna be helping as well. So it's a lot of things. I wish we had more to give to the community other than what we have, but at the moment, this is all we've got.
Yeah.
When I say more, I mean, we're trying to get some hats, we're trying to find some throws, you know, something to give them, to keep them warm,
Yeah.
kind of thing, those kind of things. Anything like that might.
Oh, man.
I would say probably 100, 80 to 100 probably.
So you're expecting 80 to 100?
No, we expect more than that. We expect anywhere from 150 to 200.
Yeah.
But
Normally.
that's normal. So we're gonna get the bags ready for the food and, you know, and so really, most importantly, you need to be there at 9 o'clock and help with bring the soup and help make the sandwiches and set things up down at the very end. Steve always been a big help. You know what I'm talking about at the very end. To serve. Steve always wants his soup done first, but we'll push it back to the back.
And don't deny, that's a preacher over there, don't shake your head, no. Go ahead.
Is there anything else?
I don't know, but I think you're gonna need a bigger one.
Anywhere else, because we were trying to, if there is, that sometimes impacts our numbers.
Hey, stop talking down there, Mr. G has the floor. Excuse me, Mr. G. We have some rude folk in this place. Go ahead, please say it again.
I was just asking also if there was anything else happening that day, because that typically impacts our turnout.
Sure,
And
sure.
and I know if anyone would know, you would be the
Yeah,
person.
I'm pretty sure we're free and clear, y'all are it.
Okay.
Austin has also volunteered for some toiletry, I think, that we usually
Would it be
do.
helpful if we announced it next week?
No, no, but it's, you know, it's the feed the needy for our church, and so we're
So
gonna
they
get
know
that,
already.
we're gonna get that many people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no other meals.
Okay.
Before they go by, cans and stuff, is there any way we can get entree to the food bank? Red Cross used to give it to me and I've lost touch.
Not above board, unfortunately.
Okay, I used to be able to do it through Red Cross, I
And the
can't.
money that you give, right here, buys all the groceries for them to take home with them. It buys the sandwich meat and all the stuff, other than the soup. Even part of it may go towards maybe buying some throws and that kind of stuff, if we've got some money left, some gloves, that kind of stuff. So all that money that you give every week or right here, that's what that goes for, is to feed the needy and to give them whatever we can give them.
$303 so far, not including today.
So,
And we're in the Family Life Center across Lutheran for the new folks. It's the larger of the two
Addition.
buildings. Just to let the new.
And Dan, you always bring the drinks, you still got it?
getting that with
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question. I have a little, probably wallet-sized little memo notebook that has a little pencil attached, plastic outlining. Would that be something of interest or something that they could
I would
use?
say
you think?
so. I would say so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
They can use
to
it.
carry the memories, you know.
when do you shop for the
Organize a
candidates?
little bit.
We,
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
When do you shop for the
it'll be
candidates?
next week, probably, maybe in the middle of the
If
week
you
or
could
something.
go, just, Bob had asked about Second Harvest. You know, it really is, I mean, it's our guests. A lot of those folks are our guests. And we serve meals on the weekends sometimes with other churches. It might be that you could go shopping with us. We shop on Thursday. So if you could wait until Thursday. Now, it's less specific. You're gonna go in there and there's huge tubs. And he knows.
Well, Richard, do you remember when we had the Jim Beam barbecue
Yeah.
at church?
Yeah.
That came from Second Harvest Food Bank. That was a
I don't
winner.
know if you wanna wait that
The only
late.
thing I'm thinking is you're talking about Thursday,
Next Thursday.
next Thursday may be too late for us because I think the youth are gonna be assembling this coming Sunday. So I think we're gonna have to get the
Do you wanna go
before them, because
tomorrow?
what they did is
You can go tomorrow.
they put it all together.
Yeah, we could go tomorrow. I was just trying not to spring it on you.
Yeah. But the only time I'll have to go would be tomorrow.
You wanna go?
Yeah, let's talk about that
We'll talk
afterwards.
about it.
But anyway,
Excellent.
that's what your money's for. So when you give your dollar, that's what that's for. Even though Mr. Honeycutt says it's Jake's money, it's not really. But thank you guys for all of you helping.
All right.
And ladies.
Lady. Okay, any other unfinished business?
Bridal candidate.
Okay.
Some had thought they might have access to a creditable candidate for the Rotary Leadership Award Academy. We'd like to have those names in, so it's $300 to send one, but it's well worth it, guys. Well, I could let Brother Hunt help me. He's well aware of the value of that, and so is Michael. If we
What's
can-
the age, I mean, can it be, I've got a sophomore in high school.
You can be up to a rising senior.
Okay. I've got a sophomore in high school that I would like to talk to you about.
They're going to be leaders.
How many do we want to see?
I'd like to send at least one, but if the club could come up to send two, that'd be great. I'll be willing to be the mentor and drive them out and take them to the Black Mountain Y. It's in March.
So they got transportation, you know?
We have to provide, the club has to provide it, and I'll do that. My wife will let me have the car.
So, when is it?
Arrival is, I want to say March 26, 29, something like that. It's a weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. It used to be a week-long thing, and we found that candidates could not get. I lost my Hickory High School football player because he couldn't miss practice. So, you know, I have to look it up. Tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
And it would be no cost to the kid, right?
No cost.
Yes, sir.
I have just one thing. Before Christmas, I was in Portugal.
Hold on, did you come in this meeting late?
No, I was before
Did you come in this meeting?
I measure myself.
Has he paid for it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Came in with you.
and I'll pass this phone round, but that's the famous Bell End Tower in Lisbon, and there's a little something here in front of it, which is what the Rotary Club in Portugal, they made a little model of it, made out of steel, and so it's right there in front of the
Oh, that's cool.
of the tower. Thousands and thousands of people see it every day. And I saw something about a bus shelter. Saying if we can't afford a bus shelter, we can make a model bus shelter in front of the
For short people.
see that. Yeah.
For short people.
But anyway,
Let them know what they would be getting.
yes, exactly.
If we made one.
Yes.
That's all
22nd
comfort.
or 24th?
All right, any other unfinished business? Steiger,
Sir?
you talking down there?
No, sir?
Well, stop looking like
I'm
it.
talking to myself.
Well, we got a problem.
He needed
Broughton is
expert
across the
advice.
road. I'm Broughton across the road, just want you to know where it is. You gonna drive them over there? It's in your way when you.
That's why my
Black
parole
Mountain.
officer is with me.
Oh.
Actually, I'm on my way to Morganton after this.
You gonna take care of him? Sir, I'm sorry, we normally are worse, okay? I just want you to know.
I want to just throw
Yes, ma'am.
something that's going to, the government shutdown will impact school lunch on February 1st.
Oh.
Okay? We get, for kids that get free or reduced lunch, we're good till February 1st. After February 1st, we don't know. We're in very uncharted territory. And my sister-in-law works for Division of Natural Resources. They have been told that they heard the people above her bosses' bosses, have told them not to expect any resolution before end of February, middle of March. So just tossing that out there because I know you guys, we have given to Viewmont to look at, and we've got that money in our account for kids that owe money. And right now, we're sitting on a debt list of about $450. We are just, we send calls all the time, and Ryan can talk about this. We call folks all the time. We send letters all the time telling them, hey, you owe in the cafeteria. But if we don't have our free lunch, I don't know what we're gonna do. So just tossing that out there while we're talking about feeding folks. We're 70% free lunch, so we're about 300 kids. that get free or reduced lunch,
How many students total?
500.
Jenny, how about the other schools?
So, the worst population is gonna be Southwest and Longview, because they're 100% free lunch and breakfast. Our kids this year have to pay for breakfast at Viewmont. We lost our free breakfast. So we have a lot of kids that used to get breakfast and now don't. And I don't know what we're gonna do. So just throwing that out there, that there may be a need in our community with our 5 elementary schools that we never saw coming. But if you take, if you take that and you compound it out at 300 kids at $2.25 a day, it's not gonna take long before that gets beyond anybody's ability to do anything about it.
Can we supply food? That's, you're not, that's, we've been there. We've been
Because then that
there
becomes
before.
competition. Because, you know, we talked about
It's
something.
not offered. There is no competition.
Well, it is offered because they can pay for it. So there's all kinds, but you know, to me, and this is just me spouting, and I have no power over this. But if we're no longer competing with the government part of it,
Yes.
then you would think, Bob, what you're saying would be real, but it's still, the cafeteria is still, or child nutrition is still considered the entity that we would compete against.
You know, I know if I went and had a conversation with Mr. Link at McDonald's, that something would be done. But you're telling me that can't happen.
Because the church has talked about that too. We're deeply worried.
Is it because it's on-site feeding? I mean, they can eat
Yeah.
at home.
Right.
But it's about the money.
It is.
Gotcha.
And the irony behind it, it's about the money that the government subsidizes. There's the irony behind it, and they're not going to give us money because they're furloughed.
You know, this is affecting Hickory, but it's affecting the whole
Everybody.
state.
Everybody.
This becomes the superintendent's problem to handle, along with the state. So I think something will come out of it because it affects the whole state. And so I would say that's the superintendent's problem at this time. And I feel sure he's addressing this.
Well, I mean, we're in uncharted territory because this has never happened. I mean, we're already furloughed longer than we've ever shut down the government, and we've never gotten to the point that you didn't have that. The food stamps will be given out January 20th, and they're going to give them January stamps and February stamps, and hope that the government is back open before March comes. But it worries me when you start handing people 2 months worth of food stamps, and then they have to manage that. And I'm worried about, will they be able to manage it properly? Or are they going to be like, woo, steak for dinner, and then they come middle of February, they're without anything? So I throw that out there because that may impact us in a lot more ways than just our kids. When you're talking about, we're going to prepay these folks to get food stamps and cross our fingers that we have a government functioning again before they need to eat again. Anyway, just something we didn't even know about till Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very sad.
My guest this morning informs me that even though it's NC Works, it's funded by the federal government, his job ceases at the end of this month. So there goes the unemployment office.
Well, unless they are able to pull money from another program, part of the program, I've done that before. Because, so, I don't know, I'm just gonna keep plugging away. Not really worried about it, there's a lot of people that are a lot worse off than I was.
Okay, continue. Anyone else has something to share, unfinished?
Uplifting?
Unfinished business?
Uplifting?
I have to get with Kenny today. I didn't mean to blindside him in the meeting here, but I've got to print some tickets, so we're ready for March 1st.
Yes, sir.
And our dance at Market on Main and Mardi Gras. Market on Main. And I'll bring Kenny up to speed here after the meeting.
Mr. Wimberly, if you're trying to sneak out, I need to see you after the meeting, please.
You know, I'm
So I think it's fine.
Wow.
Deuces and out.
You got toothache?
Just rude.
You didn't even say bye.
He did, he did.
Oh, okay.
That's,
It is
Let's
fine.
get back to order. Let's get back to order. Anyone else got a proper unfinished business to share?
One other thing, dance-wise, we haven't made any decisions on the October dance. We weren't even quite sure, we were gonna talk about October 17th, but I don't think the mill's available. So we need to get serious about talks and,
I thought we were gonna see how this one went to see if we wanted to do the other.
well, the October dance is the one I think everybody wanted to keep.
Yeah.
The Halloween
Okay,
dance
okay.
is the one that's always been the moneymaker, so,
We had talked about moving it a lot earlier in October or in the end of September.
but here it is January already, and he tells me our last conversation was weddings are already being planned for October. So we may be out, at least
look,
with that venue.
Would you check for us?
Yeah,
See what dates are
Yes.
available. And next week, let's talk about, everybody come planning to select one of those dates, and then we get right back to him immediately and say, one of the dates. Fair enough?
the other thing is too, I don't know if some of our bigger bands are available, since you have to book those quite in advance. So, we booked a year in advance, did we not, last year? Close to it. Okay, so yes, to answer your question, I will check.
Okay, well, we're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay, didn't have any faster jumper uppers, so I'm gonna assume that all the unfinished business is done.
We still have to pin our 2 new club members, and I've got the pins, and there are sponsors here. So before the meeting's over, we ought to pin them.
Okay, we'll not do it like hazing.
Doesn't hurt.
We won't do, we don't
Are
do
you
hazing.
smacking
Okay.
your chest?
Initially,
Yes, sir.
At one point, we voted to start meeting at 7:15, and then we had to move it back to 7 because it's the group following us. Are we able to go back to the 7:15 yet, or are we still stuck with 7?
To be honest, 7:15 would work a whole lot better.
Well, if we change
You'd be here
it,
by
we not tell
7:30.
Donald so he'd be on time.
When I have, you're gonna be so ashamed, you know? You're gonna be so ashamed when you find out that ever since you've been knowing me, I've been having a back issue and that I'm scheduled for a back operation. You're gonna be so ashamed when you find out I can't come in because I'm bent over, tied up, or whatever it is they're gonna do to my
No, we
back.
don't need to hear about all that.
Sounds way personal.
Yeah, you're gonna be so ashamed for picking on me. That's all right. I love you. I don't care what
You
you
know why I pick up.
I know, cause you love me.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
right.
it's easy.
Yeah. Next. All right, now, I think that it's time for us to, let's see, you've introduced your guests already? Have you, Bob? What are you calling Bob for?
Trying to get the dates.
Yeah, well,
I want to come up pills.
I think we want to go to, talk about the Louisiana Purchase now, I think, something along that line.
We could do that.
Can we, Phil?
We'll see if we can pull
Tell us
something
about
out.
Lewis and Clark and all those
the
fellas.
Louisiana Purchase.
That was over in Kentucky, wasn't it?
I need a date.
Was that kind of
Oh, sorry.
Down in Miami, that's right.
You know how to navigate these silly pages they put
I
up.
got it, okay.
And the problem is.
Well, good morning,
different
thank you all for
tablets.
tolerating yet another program from me.
Good morning, Dr. Phil.
As you know, one of my concerns always in our club is the onerous, and I love that word, onerous, the onerous fining that goes on in our club. I mean, sometimes it really is probably way over the top. And
Yeah.
today,
Amen, brother.
today, preach it, brother. Today, I was really, really shocked at what happened to my fellow sailor, Richard Tucker.
Thank you.
No.
So,
Say it
Richard,
not
I'm
so.
going to give you the opportunity.
That's gonna cost you $1.
I don't really like that down too, huh?
That's another $1.
You said play it over the top.
I'm going to give you an opportunity to win back $1 with a Sacagawea commemorative coin, if you answer this question correctly.
Okay.
C, it's always C.
Other than the state
of Missouri, other than the state of Missouri, I need you to tell me a state in the United States through which the Missouri River flows or is bounded by the Missouri River. Other than the state of Missouri, that's the obvious answer. So
I would say,
Wyoming.
I would say Mississippi.
I'll give you another opportunity to win this second trivia commemorative coin worth $1.
Oh, yeah, Ohio.
There you go.
It's clear that the United States Navy never traveled.
We never sailed in those seas, those states, we weren't in those states.
Does somebody want to help Richard?
Nebraska, how about Nebraska?
There you go.
You can pass that on down. You can pass that on down.
Colorado.
Since our club president has been beset with onerous finding, I'll give you an opportunity to win back at least $1
Yes, sir.
with another state other than Nebraska or flows through or bounded by the Missouri River.
Missouri River. Let's see. Alaska. This Englandite telling me what to say. You know where Missouri is. Let's see. Missouri River. Let's see. Missouri. Colorado.
No.
Too low.
You get another chance.
Too low.
Nebraska. Hey, don't say Kansas.
He's right. Bob's right. There are two of them. Yeah, that's a good clue.
Wyoming.
All right.
Good Lord.
So the Missouri River, for those of you who have been pondering your geography,
Thank you.
comes into the Mississippi River in the St. Louis area.
Yeah.
And it starts way up in the Montana area. And it flows sort of east-west and then southeast through the Dakotas and bounds Iowa and Nebraska, just a little bit of Kansas, and then of course flows through a good bit of Missouri. So the year is 1804. The United States has purchased the Louisiana Territory from France, from Napoleon. It's sort of an interesting story, which we won't get into, about how it went from Spain to France to the U.S., but sort of a convoluted insanity. And President Thomas Jefferson has decided that we really need to send some folks up there, have a look and survey and try to get a real solid idea through surveying techniques of just exactly how much we've purchased and what's there. The Missouri River is a conduit for traders, mostly in animal furs. A lot of French traders have been up in that area. And there are stories about what goes on. But really about the time that you get to the southern end of what is now North Dakota, pretty much all European information of what's going on from there west almost to the Pacific Ocean is just tales and stories. No real good maps or solid information. So Jefferson gets together with Meriwether Lewis. He's a protege of Jefferson. Jefferson takes him into under his wing, gets him schooled in botany and surveying techniques and all manner of stuff, and has Lewis put together what later becomes known as the Corps of Discovery. And they worked together, Jefferson and Lewis, for a couple of years to plan this expedition to go out there and see what's going on. So in 1804, Lewis sets out with Clark, William Clark, as we know so well. It's difficult to remember Clark's first name. Everybody remembers Meriwether Lewis and that guy Clark, but it is indeed William Clark. And I wanted to give you a feel for what it was like for this crew to take off. Now they've got to get, think about the US, you know, they're just about smack dab in the middle of what is now the United States. Way over there is the Pacific Ocean. And their job is to get through all of this stuff that we now think of as the heartland of the breadbasket of the country, through all that area and up through the Dakotas and over into Montana, because that's, you know, that's kind of how the Louisiana Purchase was shaped. Well, the best way to travel if you needed to have a lot of supplies was by water in those days. You know, a lot of the superhighways of our country in the early days. So they have the Missouri River, good opportunity. So they decide they're going to take off with a few canoe-like boats, what we would think of as very large canoes today, and their keel boat. The keel boat was 55 feet long. This room is not long enough to hold the keel boat that they took up. This room's about, looks like it's about 35 feet or so. Certainly not 55 feet long. It was 8 feet wide at amidships. Had a shallow draft. It had a 32-foot high mast that was jointed near the base so it could be lowered. The mast supports a large sail that they can use when the wind is behind them. It's not. This is really not a sailing vessel that could sail with the wind abeam or slightly forward of that. Austin can tell you all about that kind of sailing. So it's pretty much only when the wind is behind it they can use it. It has an elevated an elevated deck of 10 feet at the stern for a cabin. It has a deck at the bow for a forecastle, and they had a large, what we would think of as like a large punt gun or a small cannon-like shotgun-like cannon sort of thing that they have on the front, because they expected there could be trouble with some of your fellow folks that might not appreciate white men coming in and messing up their territory. The hold was 31 feet in length and could carry a cargo of about 12 tons. Now, they're planning to take this thing up against the current in the Missouri River. When the wind is right, they get some help from the sail. Other than that, it's people power. So the Corps of Discovery has a number of young men who have signed up for adventure. And these folks are going to be oarsmen, pushers with poles, just like you may have seen in the old keel boats, the Walt Disney movies or stuff, you know, where the pole goes in and you walk forward, or yeah, you're walking forward. Yeah. I always get confused about whether you walk after or for when you're doing it. Yeah, and the push this thing up the river and/or get out and pull it with ropes. Maybe find some draft animals around that they can use to help. Very slow process. Why they're doing this? Because this is the accepted means of transportation. This is the way that you've always gotten things done to get someplace. Now, the big hope is when we get up here to the headwaters of the Missouri, which are steeped in stories and stuff, that we're going to have a short overland trip and we're going to find the headwaters of the Columbia River to sail down to the Pacific Ocean. So not only might we have a decent way to do exploration, but we may have a great way for transportation, for trade, over to the Pacific Ocean. And this is a major impetus to what's going on. But it relies on the fact that there's going to be water most of the way. And there should be, according to the ideas. Off they go. It takes them a year to get up into what we think of now as North Dakota, from St. Louis up there. Slow going. Every time they meet Native Americans, there's talk going on. They carry trade items for the Native Americans, including medallions. Some of those still exist today that were given to some of the chiefs along the way as a sign of peace with the American government in Washington. But it's still very slow going. They make it in their first year. They make it up there to the North Dakota area. The next year, they go to Winterdown. Then the next year, they start pretty much heading west across there. They make it to the headwaters of the Missouri, and it's literally at this point just a creek that Lewis makes it up. and they're going up a steep side of a small mountain, what we would consider a mountain in the Appalachians, but for the Rockies, as they were about to find out, is just the beginning of the foothills practically. They make it to there, and as some of the men are back with boats a little further down, but Lewis and a couple others are at the front of the advancing. They head up. They think we're going to go over the top of what we think of as an Appalachian-sized mountain. A couple more mountains, kind of like going through up the New River, maybe up into Virginia, and that way. And they expect there's going to be the headwaters of the Columbia. Little did they know they were into the Bitterroot Mountains, what we now know is Idaho. And they've got pretty much all of Idaho to get across by foot. They are not prepared for that. They've got boats. Now there's just dry ground, and it's up and down. Fortunately, they've got Sacagawea with them, who has skills in communicating with other Native Americans. She does not speak English. She speaks some rudimentary French, and her husband, speaks French and some rudimentary English. I think there may even be another language in between. But anyway, between the chief that they try to communicate with and Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery, there's a number of translations that go on and very loose talk. But they managed to get some done. They managed to get horses. The good news is they get some horses. They get across hundreds, not just a couple of miles, but hundreds of miles of the Bitterroots, find the headwaters, build new canoes, and sail on down and make it to the Pacific. Spend a winter there, work their way back along, and bring back all sorts of information. So that's all kind of fun, but what the heck has it got to do with Rotary? Now I have to give credit to our pastor, Whit Malone at First Presbyterian Church, who used this story to talk about very similar about what I want to talk about this morning, which is now about our club. These folks did what had always been done as a way of getting around, and they looked into the distant future, shrouded in unknown territory, and said, this is going to work just fine. And it didn't work so well. But thanks to ingenuity, they managed to get across the Bitterroots, got back to their boat idea, and went on. I would suggest to you that not only our Rotary Club, but Rotary clubs in the United States and around, but certainly in the United States, and other civic organizations face a bit of the problem that Lewis and Clark did when they did what had always worked so well and found out, yeah, it works to a point, and then it doesn't work so well. We all know that we work hard at membership in our club. We work hard at keeping folks interested in projects that we're doing for our community. And it's difficult. And it works really well for people of my generation, and to some extent the next generation below me or younger than me, however you say that. You get to the really young folks, and it's getting to be hard to convince these folks that what their daddies or their granddaddies always did is necessarily the best idea for what they should do with their time and talents. And so this is really just sort of an introduction to more talking that we've done for a while about Rotary, about our club, about what's the best way to move forward. Are the programs that we're involved with, and I'm just open to it, there's no time to discuss it, and I certainly wouldn't take that opportunity away from Donald for the rest of the year. But I thought when Whit talked about this at church, I thought this is so much of a great tie-in as well for our club, that just like Lewis and Clark, we've done the stuff, it's worked well in the past, but we're now somewhere around the edge of the Bitterroot Mountains, I think, with civic organizations in general, Rotary, our club in particular. And what are some ways that we can change what we're doing to find a way to be as effective as we have been in the past, or even more? And there you go. I mean, I'm happy that we can chat about the Corps of Discovery and these folks. By the way, I did see a full-scale mock-up of this keel boat that they built at one of the museums near the town of St. Louis. And it's just absolutely incredible to think that this huge thing, I mean, you think about this room, but bigger, this huge thing that got hauled up the Missouri River, most of the time by guys rowing and or pulling, getting out into the water over the bank and pulling.
We're all familiar with the analogy of football, and we watched in this past 2 weeks a couple of spectacular Hail Marys, one that worked successfully well, and some that didn't, of course. But Rotary, in anticipation of what you're saying, had started a while back through the Council of Legislation to throw up a Hail Mary. As you're well aware, Phil, they've opened up the latitude to the clubs. In fact, as I read through it yesterday, some of the things that our club has done in the past 3 or 4 years are just now condoned, and only because they work. And one of the things they've done in this last meeting in Chicago was expand when a trial process is approved, like the E-Club or whatever. They've expanded the potential number of clubs that can participate in it each year from 200 to 1,000 clubs worldwide can try the trial process. But basically, what you're seeing is Rotary is throwing up a Hail Mary and said, come on guys, collectively let's find out what we're going to do. And so yeah, your point's well taken, and it's hitting fertile ground now. It's well received, and we don't have to feel constrained in how we want to approach what we do. In fact, you know, it used to be 30 lashes and beating on the head if you didn't make every meeting and miss 3, and then they upped it to miss 50%, and now I don't think they even well, they don't track the attendance statistic anymore. We are still asked to as a district in our clubs as secretaries, but they don't internationally track those statistics. What they're more interested in is the level of participation, and as you've seen in the web pages, the success of projects and the success of membership growth. By the way, to your credit, you're part of the district that's #1 in this country and #3 in the world in membership growth. So some of the things we're doing around this district right now are working and working well. So we've gotten some recognition for that.
Yeah, and it is an important thing for us to consider, because you know, we've tried a couple of off-the-wall things, and as we'll probably, I expect we'll see next year when Tiffany comes in as our district governor, there'll be some more off-the-wall things to talk about.
She is a professional cheerleader, and she will rah-rah the troops to the line.
Yeah, she helped spearhead the 0K race, right? Where you stand at the start line, and now you're at the finish line, and let's go party. I forget which club in the western part of the state that did that. But
Hendersonville.
Hendersonville? Of course, we have to be careful. If we get too loosey-goosey, we start to lose our identity. And we know there's that tension between being the good old Rotary Club idea and just so loosey-goosey that who knows who's a member of our club and does anybody come. And you know, we're going to feel that tension throughout. But anyway, thank you for your attention to the quick story about the core discovery and about our club.
By the way, we owe a thank you to Haiti, the island, the nation of Haiti, because of the revolt in Haiti. Napoleon needed the money to prosecute the war with them and with the Brits. So he sold Louisiana for $15 million just to have some money to do his wars.
That's Brits, and I mean, you're fighting. They were fighting. If he hadn't been fighting us, he wouldn't have needed to sell it.
Well, we want to thank you for all your contributions.
In fact, you
Yes, sir.
the domain at
I
that
just
point.
wanted to let you know I will not be doing the program next week. I had someone set up to come in that worked for the IRS and give us some insight into what was going on with the
Maybe he can't.
IRS and how to help and everything. Well, she's not allowed to do it right now.
Unavailable.
Okay.
So I have worked with Rick, and Rick will have someone.
Well, you saw, everybody saw the email Rick sent out. I think we ought to have her in, because that's a remarkable program.
Well, and they just spoke somewhere. I just heard about them.
Yeah.
My wife saw them
Stillwater-
speak and thought
Stillwater
thought it was
Ranch.
an excellent program.
But
Excellent.
whatever you do, don't bring the IRS in here. There's a lot of businessmen. Okay,
She
whatever
was
you
just gonna
do.
give us, she was just gonna give us little insights of help
Okay.
on some of the things that are going on. She doesn't, she works in the programming end of it, as new programs come in and things like that. She's.
You're working with Rick to get us a program for
Yes,
next
sir.
week. Okay.
Let us know well in advance, so some of us can just participate.
I understand. I was gonna surprise everybody.
No, you don't want to surprise this group with the IRS.
You know what? We'll see who turns up for that one.
Yes. That one we will record. Take addresses and names.
Well, Rick was, I had spoken to Rick about it. The other thing that he was excited about, and she was actually gonna talk more about that than the IRS, wasn't gonna answer any political questions. But she is a 25-year veteran of the Marines.
Oh, wow.
So when she got out of the
Yeah,
Marines.
you have a camera?
What's that?
You have a camera?
Whatever you do, don't make her mad.
Okay, let's get this done.
All right, we, excuse me, but we do have to initiate,
Introduce.
Just get up front.
introduce some fellow Rotarians.
That's your hour.
Yeah.
Take these, get Stephen.
Come on, Stephen, let's go do this.
Yeah, while they're coming up here, I just want to thank all y'all for what y'all done with me. I really do appreciate it, and you have no idea when somebody calls out, it makes you feel. I really do want to thank y'all.
And for those of you who aren't steeped in Southern tradition, Kenny just used the plural form of y'all. It sounds all y'all. And we use that in Virginia as well, where I was.
It used to be Ewins.
Done.
It used to be
Done.
Ewins.
Use is a little bit more North Carolina.
But you didn't get the part where I said, y'all come on over here, over yonder.
Yeah.
And
Well, in keeping with Southern words, we are finna. Finna, you never heard of finna?
Fix it.
Fix it up.
Well, down in Mississippi, it's finna. Finna do. We're finna do this.
I ain't gonna do that. He's ready to.
What's that?
I'll be gentle.
Yeah, be gentle. Steve, any day now. You knew we were gonna do
You know, you need to point out to our new members, they have a little red sticker on their badge.
Yes.
Take a quick look at it, which you don't get to peel off until you've brought in a new member.
I just want to take this time, I know last week Michael sort of threw Bob under the bus.
No.
He wouldn't do that.
Now, Bob had things lined up the way we had said we were going to do this, because this is a very important time for Rotarians. We wanted their family, we wanted to be formal. He had the package ready to go. So obviously, we hadn't expedited that, so as a result of that, Michael went into his program. However, Bob has had things ready to go for quite some time, so just understand that Bob is usually on top of these kind of things. It's an honor to bring you gentlemen into the club. As I said to you early on, I've been in Rotarian over 25 years now, and it's Wednesday mornings I look forward to every week, just because of the folks who are in this room and Rotarians across the world. So I welcome you.
Don't hit him too hard when you push it in.
Don't tell them where you want to.
It's a white shirt.
It'll show.
Brother Ryder. Yes. I would like to present to you our certificate of membership. We're going to welcome you to Sunrise. We are glad to have you. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Very glad to be here.
All right. Thank you. Brother Ryan, welcome you to Hickory Sunrise. You're really glad to have you. Thank you.
He wants it tighter together so he can get it in one picture. You guys are too big.
Right, exactly.
I'm like a candle, may not stand as what I wrote. Okay, let's see, where are we now? How you doing, brother? How you doing?
Of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Austin.
Is it fun?
All right, you gotta have a